Hello, how's it going, boys? What is up? So it's back once again for yet another Suptix video thingy. So I'm here to try to help you get good, alright? You can pick whatever you want. That's usually how it tends to be for this kind of video because it's your money, not mine. End of the day, you pick whichever you feel like you want to pick, okay? Whichever characters or summons that makes you wet, you pick. I'm just here to help you if you want to get better somehow, one way or another. But yeah. Anyways, we're gonna start with whichever characters that I haven't mentioned yet since last Suptix. And what I call that? Like basically the new ones they get added into the pool. As you can see on the screen now, you have like Tyra there, you have Sabrina and Richard there, right? So those are the few to name a few that got added into the pool now, right? So like all these new characters, I'll talk about them first, and then after that, I will mention like Guild War related things because next month will be Dark Favorite Guild War, right? So we have to, well, at least mention something about it, right? So okay, here we go. I'm not sure why is my hand upwards. Okay, so first we have Volenna. Volenna is a light character. Volenna is kind of like a budget bursty character that helps your party to be able to burst because you get amplify, you get echo, and guaranteed triple, and then you can also get another extra bonus of, is it 10%? Yeah, 10% of echo as well. That on top of this is 20%, I think. Yeah, so you get a total of 30% echo for the entire party if you can get shield to the entire party. So this is not bad to have as well if you for some reason still want a light burst character, even though light Guild War's kind of over. Next we have Barawa and Sarya. Sarya is a fire character. I remember was very hyped on this because they had very cool of a mechanic at that time. But then again, after reading it closer, turns out I was debated by the way it was written on wiki at that given time. I'm pretty sure it's changed already because it's been like an old character. But like I remember at that time they kind of wrote it wrongly. That it kind of mentioned that you can use this at any given time. So it's like, what? You get multi-hit, you get 5 dispels. Like, what the hell? This looks so insane. Sorry, but yeah, you can't really like spam this like crazy because you need to use you need to get the stacks up to 5 or higher only you can use it, right? Else it's impossible to use it. This one is kind of like the full auto kind of character, which you have dispels, lots of them. You have like a lot of dispels going for this character, but it's not like fire really needs this kind of character, to be fair. So this one you can ignore as well. Next we have Lowain. Yeah, Lowain is the dark character. So Lowain, I remember him being like a really good buffer. Like that's really the thing he does, like the Riz up thing. Yeah, like based on whatever type of specialty your characters are. So like balance, attack, defense, healing, and special, right? You get all these sets of buffs whenever he casts this, right? He can do quite a bit. Like the numbers on these are actually quite significant to say. Like for example, like this one, you get like 50% attack, 50% attack, 50% defense, and then 10% uplift. I think 10% uplift applies to everything. But yeah, 50% attack and defense is pretty significant for something that can be removed and lasts for 5 turns, right? So I think a lot of people probably used him for like maybe even hard raids as well, just because that this guy has really good buffs. I mean, he also can get like his own buffs here. He can get extra multi-attack, healing specs, all that good stuff. Just so that you can, stay alive longer and whatnot. And then this one is pretty handy as well. Very cool. And not to mention, I say this plenty of times for those who are not familiar, hype is very strong. Yeah, even though you only last for like 3 turns because you can't really recast this. But like, hype is very strong. You can actually just use this just to save up for like your big nuke, why not? Because hype gives you a lot of raw damage. And this is a very unique attack mod as well, which allows you to stack very, very easily with other buffs. That is, this one is very good. It goes up to like 4 stacks. Maximum stack is like 100%, so it's pretty good. And each stack you get is quite significant as well. I wouldn't really say if he's like a top pick for me, but he's pretty alright. Yeah, he's pretty alright. Next we have T-Rex Chan. This one is a little bit better, one of the better ones, which I probably won't really repeat too much later on, like for the Guild War side, because she's definitely a character that you can most likely use for Guild War if you want to go for like a budget setup. The reason that being is because she has relatively nice buffs that she can do to herself, which is from her 3rd skill, which allows her to be able to be a burster, because you can get guaranteed triple, if I recall correctly, and then you get flurry, and then her skills, her damage skills, basically these 2 skills, will be able to activate twice, right? The Dispel Cancel is kind of whatever. So being able to activate twice is quite significant because this skill is pretty huge. This is a 8 hit dark damage to random foes, and you get 2 buffs to the caster. But yeah, this one is very significant because you get twice, so in other words you get 16 hits instead. And then we all know that a lot of you probably have already gotten your free Agonize already by now, all thanks to the 10th anniversary ticket. So having this to slot into your budget burst setup can be very, very helpful as well. The only downside I would say about her is that you need to press buttons in order to make her work. Yeah, that's her only major downside, because she will not work as intended, how you want her to be, if you do not press a single button. She has to press this button. If you don't press this button, she just doesn't work as well. She's very, very shit without this. So yeah, you have to press something. It's not like say for example like take 6 for example, right? 6 can still somewhat function without his buff, because usually you press his S1, right? He can still function relatively well without it. But if he press his skill, he's better. But for her, I still would think that she'll be very, very bad just without any buffs. Like the moment you don't press anything, she just straight up dog shit. Just if you're not planning to press any buttons on her, might as well just take her out, right? No point wasting that party member slot on her if you're not pressing anything. But yeah, so she's quite a decent character to go with. She can nuke relatively strong if you're slotting in your Agonize, if you're using elemental summons, okay? Since now we have tempering on our Celeste, whatever. If you're planning to go for like full auto, she's alright too. Yeah, she might actually be okay for full auto Guild War 2, who knows. But yeah, she's pretty good for Guild War. Just a minor hint, because I might probably mention this again later. Okay, next one we have Olivia, which I think this is probably like the fan favorite for this Suptix, because a lot of people are probably going to pick this. Alright, so Earth Olivia is apparently very strong. You know, it's like same power level as how like what you call that, like Water Zeta or like Bowman, you know, those, just to name a few, right? Those few ones that really has such a huge power spike compared to everyone else, just because that she has insane amount of debuffs, right? As you can see, this alone is already 5. Insane amount of debuffs. This is also another debuff, and she has a lot of buffs of her own as well. But it's mostly her buffs is only to herself plus one other character, which is the next character. So whatever you do, if you do get her, you have to make sure that she never be placed on position 4 like ever, because you have to remember that you see this line here, Twilight Aura effect to caster and an Earth ally in the next position. So in other words, like say if you place here, right, this does not count as the next position because they're the back line, right? So her buffs doesn't apply to anyone if you put her here. She needs to be here or here. So if you put her in position 2, the position 3 character will get a buff. If you put her in 3, the position 4 character will grab it, okay? So that's one of the things you really have to pay attention to. And then, yeah, her buffs is really, really handy. Like, really strong buffs. And then once she gets her together as everything, once you get to this, she gets insane buffs. This one is very, very strong. Like, very, very strong. Because you get, like, this is a perpetuity mod as well. This is like 40% guaranteed double. No, technically guaranteed triple, essentially. But they didn't really say it's guaranteed triple. It's just 100% triple. So if there's... Because there's a difference between 100% and guaranteed, by the way. For those who are not familiar with as well. Because guaranteed is like, if you have any form of multi-attack down, right? Because multi-attack down, like, you just take this, for example, right? Take this as an example. This can be, like, the boss can actually do this to your characters. If you have this... If your buff says you have 100% double or triple attack and you get this kind of debuffs, right? That 100% will be reduced. It's not you're not going to get like guaranteed triple or whatever. This will reduce your multi-attack rate, okay? But if it says, like the buff says guaranteed, that kind of debuff will not affect you at all. Basically, the word, the guaranteed whatever shit after will be basically overwritten to everything else, unless you say, like, for example, like another example I would say is like I think Chef has this, if I recall correctly, you know, like that kind of debuff where the I think it's a field effect, I might be wrong though. It's like where they purposely force you to like only have maybe a single attack, for example. They force you to single attack no matter what, then yeah, that one will bypass everything. Yeah. So if you're in that kind of situation, I can't really give you any other examples of which other bosses because I can't remember that has that kind of debuff. If you're in that situation, then only your supposedly guaranteed double / triple attack will be affected. Other than that, your guaranteed double or triple will always take priority. You'll always be there no matter what. So yeah. So that's why like her buffs is very, very like strong, because yeah, she basically has insane amount of like consistency in terms of damage, multi-attack, and she also gets damage cap. You get flurry basically on herself and the next character as well, so it's pretty nuts, right? And then you get also normal attack amplify as well, which is, well, for those who are not familiar with amplify, it's basically enhance in reeling. That's probably like my easiest way to explain. It works exactly the same. It's like just straight up like a free 20% damage, right? Is it 20%? Yeah, 20%. So it's very, very strong. Amplify mod is very, very strong in this game. And yeah, you get that as well. But yeah, no, this one is not really like the thing you really want to pay attention to. This whole stack is the one you want to pay attention to. This thing be given to herself and the other character is really, really strong. And then not to mention, she has this as well. This important line here: attack without using up a turn. So in other words, because she has so much flurry, hits, echo, and all that stuff, because this gives echo as well, don't forget, you can easily get a lot of hits. So if you're using her as well in like any form of V2 raids that has that kind of trigger XX amount of hits, she can be very, very helpful as well. Yeah, that's why she is probably like one of the highly sorted one for supposedly like in the subtickable pool. Very, very strong character for that kind of setting. Yeah, because she can she can debuff a lot. She has insane amount of buffs to herself and the other character. She can hit a lot alongside with the other character, and then you can also reduce its cooldown very easily, because this one is, it looks quite long, right? So you can get this up very easily, actually. Like, you may think that this is slow, but no, it's actually not. Because you can get it up very easily. You just need to triple attack or Ogi. Yeah, so you get to reduce that. And then this is also another reason why she's so strong as well. Because this is very easily obtained if you have Kame or Lobelia. If you have both of them together, right, this thing is free. This thing is just straight up free, because for those who are not familiar with the evokers of for Earth, is that these two, because Full Limit Break came, right? Full Limit Break came. If you bring that guy out, Full Limit Break came is kind of like the tech now for Earth. Like, he provides so much to the party, is like insane. So yeah, the reason why he's so strong is that when he comes to the front line, right, these things, the cards, your play cards, right, these rank stuff, all these counts as buffs. These stuff, right, can just easily give you insane amount of buffs, and they are very, very significant buffs, okay? So that's why it's very, very easy to get that 12 requirement up for Olivia. It's super easy. That's why she's also like one of the most sorted out, not only sorted out for this thing, where I think this is like the initial thing that you want to aim for as you're trying to progress for Earth, right? Because this is kind of like your step by step, unless Magna 3 changes that, I do not know. But yeah, so this is like your one of the first thing, right? But when he get to full limit break, right, he gets really, really insane, because you get this and all his stuff. This fourth skill is very, very strong. Yeah, his 4 skills, you have so many. Like you can basically play him as like a support. You can play him as like a utility buffer guy. You can play him as like a DPS character. You can play him in so many different ways. He is so like literally the jack of all trades, you know, because he's literally playing like, you know, he's literally like playing cards, right? This guy is really insane. And the other important thing, like one of the biggest thing he's providing to your party, he has elemental switch. So whatever it is, the moment he comes to the front, the boss will, as long as you don't die, of course, right, the boss will always attack water element to you. So in other words, you're just not taking so much damage, okay? That's why it's very, very important. And he gives insane amount of defense and all that stuff. That's why it's very, very strong to have him. And then if you go to Lobelia, right? Lobelia is also very, very free too in terms of giving buffs as well. Because if you go to this is only for full limit break, I think. But before max limit break, each time an Earth ally casts a skill, you get skill damage cap. So you get basically a free buff as well. So if you have these characters sitting in the back line, you can literally just pump up her supposedly 12 requirement buffs thing here super easily. You basically have permanent flurry here, and then you get supplemental as well. And how much is a supplemental anyway? 50k, Jesus Christ. Yeah, so it's very significant. This thing is super significant. That's why like a lot of people will just easily pick her. She's very, very strong for a subtickable character. I think I spent way too much time on this character. But I feel like it's needed to be said, right? Because a lot of people probably wants to pick her anyway, so yeah. So Sabrina is actually okay for Earth as well for like bursting, but because since we have Olivia now, technically you don't really need her. She is actually a nice character though. She's very pleasant to look at. I think she's one of the few characters that is, I would say, has a very nice design, in my opinion. And I don't really say that a lot. But yeah, she's actually relatively nice because you can have double strike or triple strike, echo. But if you're planning to get her, if you haven't gotten Olivia yet, might as well just go for Olivia, you know? Yeah, so she's actually quite nice for that regard, okay? Yeah, pretty good bursting-ish character. Next one, we have Deliford. As much as I want to go into this guy, but when I went to double check his skill set, Mr. Deliford, he's fucking shit. I think you can just ignore this guy. I know this guy needed a SSR for like a longest time, but man, that's really fucking sad. Yeah, his skill set is just fucking shit though. Yeah, I can double nuke, sure. Yeah, tank counter, sure. Not all ally sub. Yeah, he just has his full force counter. Yeah, he's like a supposedly tank, but you have to remember one thing. He's in water. Water doesn't need a tank anymore. Water has insane amount of tanks already. I think even like the... What's the name? Anne, right? Yeah. The full limit break version of Anne is probably, I would say, even providing more compared to him. The only difference is that you have to full limit break her in order to make her more viable, to say. Yeah. Because she has like a lot of buffs, which technically can last forever. Can heal herself. She can clear... whatnot. Robertina is actually not bad. I'm not sure if I actually mentioned this in the video in the first impressions, but yeah, she's actually not bad at all. Where the hell is she? Yeah, she's actually not bad at all because she has like a lot of actually relatively nice buffs. 80% damage reduction, hostility, so she gets like substitute in a way, and then you get skill specs, and then you auto activate her this skill, which basically a free nuke and whatnot, which is like everything you see about her, right? She can nuke, she can debuff, she can buff your team. You get fucking the damage Words is hard. You can also get damage mitigation as well, which is pretty handy. Yeah, it's pretty handy, you know. She gets 80% damage reduction so she doesn't die. She heal, she dispel cancel, provides dispel cancel. She can extend this like forever. As long as you Ogi every now and then. Yeah, her. And then you get supplemental as well, based on toon level. And since she's doing this, you can get it, right? So for like a utility support buffer character, she's actually not bad at all. Especially if you're in just wanting to use as like a full auto enjoyer. If you're in that category, I think she's actually not bad to use as well. Because she's relatively good for like raids that hits you really, really hard. You probably may know who that is. Because she's a light character. I wonder which dark boss actually hits you really hard. Like really, really hard. I'll let you figure that one out. Very, very good buffer altogether. So good for full auto. Next we have Juri. Is it Juri? Yeah. So Juri is water. Yeah, I think this guy is like, he wants to be a burster, but he's bad at it. He doesn't look like that great. He doesn't look great at all. He needs to, you know, pair with someone. He needs to pair with someone. In order for him to get double strike, he needs to get dispel first. If you don't dispel, he can get double strike. Yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. Like all around, I just find him like, he wants to be a good slight burst type character, but he just falls off. I don't really like this guy too much. Like other than that, it doesn't seem to be that great as well. Like even if you want to use him full auto as well, it's just like Next we have Richard. Oh man, Richard. I don't think I need to explain much about Richard. Richard is a meme character, man. Richard is a character where you just want to have fun and fuck around with a certain boss or whatever boss you want to fight. He's just there to be your Gamba Lord. If you like gambling, you can get him, I guess. Because basically, you just need to play poker or whatever. You need to play poker just so you can get a lot of chips. Then he can do insane amount of damage. That's all I see him as. He can do good damage if you manage your Gamba properly, but that's really about it. Other than that, it's just like, he's a really meme character. I think that's really all there is to it for the newer characters, because like Spina and Light is not included as they mentioned here. That one would be the next Suptix. Last but not least, I'm gonna try to like suggest like maybe dark characters for your upcoming Guild War, which maybe if you think you have trouble picking anyway. Alright, so I think I already mentioned earlier, Tyra is actually really good for that one. If you need the burst-ish character, Tyra is actually relatively okay for that. But obviously, the one and only the other character that is also really, really good at that is Bowman. So this guy is like the fantasy version of Ayer, but this guy is really, really strong because for those who are not familiar with how this guy works, is that this guy basically is like TLDR for Bowman, right? He just works. As stupid as that sounds, right? Bowman straight up just works. Because there's nothing you need to do with this guy. Because everything, all his skills cannot be pressed. It triggers automatically. He auto nukes whenever he normal attacks. And then whenever you use Ogi, this gets activated. Yeah, this gets activated. And then whenever the boss does a super or whatever, a trigger, he can get this as well. You just slot him in, it works. That's why he's been like around like the front line of bursting setups for a really long time. Because he just works and he does so much out of it. So he's really, really good as well. If you're trying to go for the if you need like EX plus burst setup, whatnot. I would used to mention these two, but not anymore though. They're not really that great. Yeah, actually, unfortunately, like Dark doesn't really have like really much choices these days though. But yeah, Predator used to be a thing, but not anymore. Yeah, you need to press a lot of buttons with her, then she can like assassin and whatnot. She used to be okay, but not so good anymore. Let's see, Manamel's okay, I guess, but I wouldn't really suggest Manamel either. Eustace is still relatively good. This Dark Eustace, his full limit break is still relatively good for full auto as well if you so need be. I think Jessica, if you want to go the Ogi tech for your EX plus, is okay as well. Yeah, then for full auto land, yeah, I think even mentioned earlier as well, if you actually want to use Lowain, is kind of okay as well for full auto kind of stuff. Yeah, Lowain is also a relatively okay character because, you know, as we all know, Guild War, if you want a full auto like the, or even like just tackling the higher level difficulties, Nightmare 150, 200, whatever, his buffs can actually come in handy just because of like I said earlier, the defense, the attack, all that. Because the boss in higher difficulties has crazy amount of defense, crazy amount of damage. Any form of extra like consistent attack up buffs or any form of defense up buff is going to be very, very helpful to you, really. So it's if you're planning to go for that, it's really helpful. Another one I probably would say is that Meg and Mary is actually not bad as well. Like looking at it again is actually not bad, because like she's they are a relatively okay character for full auto, because you can technically just use her for 3-hit nukes, but every single turn you always debuff. So let's say if you have already a dispeller, right? You know, say like Magus or like who's the Magisa, yeah. If you already have those, right, those dispeller characters, you can have this up all the time and just have them to always just debuff for you. So at least you have consistent debuff. You know what I mean? Because this happens every turn. So it's very, very helpful because this happens upon her normal attacks. I guess when you Ogi, this doesn't happen, I suppose. But this happens almost all the time. Very handy. This gets procced very often as well. And you can activate twice as well. Whenever there's a lot of debuffs, this gets activated twice. So it'll be an 8-hit nuke instead. You can also Ogi and end its cooldown. So it's pretty handy as well. So it's a pretty not so bad of a full auto character for upcoming Guild War 2. But yeah, there's not really much to really to suggest though. I think Cole is okay as well for like a healer. If you need like a support character to heal. Yeah, Cole is actually not bad as well for Guild War, I'm pretty sure. Who else? I don't think there's really not much anyone else that is worth mentioning though. Yeah, because they're all pretty dated. Yeah, that's it. I think I've been like blabbling way too much right now, rambling too much. Some people may not really like it. So I think I'm just gonna call it there. If like, once again, if you need help, you can always come to my Discord or just come over to my stream and ask. That's I mean, if I'm online, that is. Don't be afraid to ask. That's probably the one thing you do not want to do as a newer player. Always ask when you have problems or stuck, okay? That's always the best way to improve yourself, like especially like how what your current state or whatever in the game, right? Okay, thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys find this video helpful in any way, shape or form. I will see you guys next time.